Hi, this is William for Great Affordable Watches, and today I'm gonna review a watch from a new Kickstarter company called Manufaktur Waldhoff, and take a look at the first watch from them called the Renaissance. Waldhoff are releasing a couple of models. I think it's 3 or 4 watches. You can check them out on Kickstarter, but today I'm gonna review the Renaissance. Waldhoff is a German-based company started in 2015 by a Swiss watch designer, together with a German-based watch manufacturer called Manufaktur Waldhoff, and they are based in Pforzheim. And as this is the first watches from Waldhoff, it's gonna be very interesting to take a closer look at the watch and see how well they have succeeded with the first watch. So let's switch perspective and take a closer look at the watch. Okay, I'm gonna go through some specifications first. The case size is 42 millimeters in diameter. The lug-to-lug width is 20 millimeters. The case thickness is 12.5 millimeters. And the crystal is a sapphire coated K1 crystal, so it's not actually sapphire crystal, but a sapphire coated type of mineral crystal. And so the scratch resistance should be on par with a real sapphire crystal, and hopefully it will hold up very well. The movement in this watch is the Seiko NH35, and the NH35 is a rebranded or renamed version of the Seiko 4R36, and the 4R36 is basically an upgraded version of the very famous Seiko 7S26, but with added hacking and hand winding. And as we all know, the Seiko 7S26 is a very famous workhorse movement that is extremely reliable and can go on without servicing for over 20 years. So the movement in this watch is very robust and reliable, and with an added hacking and hand winding makes up for a pretty decent movement. Okay, we're gonna start off with the dial. The dial got a silver outer dial with the off-white inner dial, and the off-white inner dial got some very simple stripes or lines, which looks very good. And the outer dial, the silver dial, is brushed, and it got applied markers and an applied logo. And we also got Roman numerals at 12, 3, 6 and 9 o'clock. And I really like Roman numerals at 12, 3, 6 and 9 o'clock, and I think that looks very good when you pair it with baton markers in between. We also got a date at 3 o'clock that got a silver frame. So the dial, as we can see, is pretty clean, but thanks to the different layers on the dial, it adds a bit of contrast, which looks very good. And I think it's always nice to see a applied logo. The watch is also water resistant down to 50 meters or 50 ATM, which is more a accurate term in my opinion. The case is all polished, which is a bit of a shame actually, and I would prefer some brushing on the lugs, for example, or some chamfered edge, because I think that some brushing or chamfering adds a bit of contrast to the case, and I think that looks very good. So it's a bit of a shame that we got a all polished case except for on the underside and the case back, as we're gonna talk about later. But I think it's very common to see all polished cases, so it's a minor complaint, but I would prefer some brushing. We also got a sign crown, which is actually a nice detail, and I think a sign crown really adds something to the overall package, so it's always nice to see that. The case back is actually very nicely made, and I think the engraving on the case back looks very solid, and the brushing was also very nicely done, and I think it looks great together with the custom roller. I think it adds a bit of a contrast to the case back. Two minor complaints is one, the case thickness. It's 12.5 millimeters, so it's not the thinnest case, not the thickest either, but I would prefer a bit of a thinner case, as I like that on wristwatches, but it doesn't wear that thick, as we're gonna see later when I show you a wrist shot. So it's a minor complaint, and also that the case size is 42 millimeters, and in my opinion I think 42 is a bit too big for a dress watch, and I would prefer 38 or 40 millimeters as an option, but I think many people will appreciate and like 42 millimeters. But as sizes are going down, I think it would be very nice to see a smaller version of this watch. This watch also comes in a few different versions. For example, a blue dial with a rose gold case, which looks quite nice. And we also got basically the same version as this, but with a open heart. And I think the open heart looks really good. I'm not a big fan of open heart dials, but I think it's done quite nicely and quite simple. They're also offering a version with a slightly different case and a Miura 9010, I think. Basically the Miura 9050 movement, which is a great movement. So they're offering quite a few watches, and I think all of those are releasing at basically the same time, and it's the first watches from Waldhoff. So it's quite nice to see a watch this good from a new company. And they are also offering for a decent price of around $196 on Kickstarter. I think the prices will go up after the Kickstarter. So I think the watch is nicely priced for what you're getting. And it's a trend these days that they put simple specifications in a watch and take too high of a price. But at $200, I think it's quite a nice offering. And if they would add a smaller version of this watch and add some brushing, I think it would be one of the better watches under $200, or dress watches under $200. It could compete with some of my absolute favorite dress watches in this price range, the Orient Bambino and the Citizen NH8350. And one of the absolute highlights of this watch is the highlights of this package is the strap. And I think this strap is actually very good. It feels very high quality, and overall I think the strap is very nice, and I was very surprised to see that the strap was this nice. And the watches in this price range often comes with very poor and often horrible straps, so it's refreshing to see a decent strap in this price range. And honestly, I just got a Mido Baroncelli, which is a lot more expensive than this watch, and this strap is 10 times better than the strap that came with the Mido, and that strap is also black leather strap, but this one is a lot better, so that's very nice to see. Okay, I'm gonna show you a wrist shot, so be right back. Okay, so as we can see, I think the watch sits quite nicely on my 7-inch wrist, and it doesn't wear that big actually. It sits quite nicely, and it doesn't wear too tall either, so it definitely wears a bit smaller than the specifications, but of course this is still a pretty big watch, and as I said, I would prefer it a bit smaller, but it still fits great on my wrist. And if you have a 7-inch wrist or above, I think you will be pretty satisfied with the size. I'm actually very surprised about this offering from Waldhoff, and because it's one of the first watches they are making, I think this is a great watch. And it's pretty hard to find a good dress watch in this price range. You can find, as I said, the Citizen NH8350-83L, I think it's called, and the Orient Bambino and some Seikos. But other than that, I think it's pretty hard to find a good dress watch. And it's very nice to see that some new offerings have popped up, and I think this is one of them. And I will add this to my recommendations for dress watches under $200, because I think this is it's far from perfect, but I think it's a very nice package for the money, and it's a very nice dress watch overall. It's very elegant, and I think the black dial version look very good as well. So that's very nice to see, and it's nothing I hate about this watch. There are a few negatives, as I said, but overall the complete package is quite nice for what you are paying, and I can't really see any major downsides, and I'm very satisfied actually. And it is a lot better looking and a lot higher quality than I expected, so that's always very nice to see and very surprising. And I forgot to show you guys that the strap got something I really like, a quick release mechanism. You just pull this pin down and the strap will pop out. It will make changing straps such a breeze, and I wish every strap had this feature, because every time I'm changing strap on a watch, I'm very afraid that I will scratch the inside of the lugs. And if you have a quick release mechanism, it's so simple and you don't have to worry about scratching the lugs. And I wish every strap had this feature, but honestly I've not seen it on that many watches, so seeing this at this price point is pretty surprising, and I think it's a big plus for this watch. And I hope many more manufacturers will follow with this trend, as it helps changing strap and it makes it so much easier. As I said, if you're looking for a good dress watch under $200, I think this is a good alternative. And if you can come over the fact that it's a bit too big, in my opinion, and if you like bigger dress watches, I think this is a very good alternative. So if you like this review, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I will have some more reviews coming up next. So stay tuned for that, and I hope I see you in the next one.